Hit it.
Well, I wasn't ready. All right, you know what? No intro tonight. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Fifth Pound. I'm the captain.
And I'm Tootsie.
Just coming back from massage, it looks like.
Oh yeah, get my massage parlor gear on tonight.
I mean,
Just
you
ready
know,
for that sweet ending.
yeah, I mean, we finally have a happy ending, right? I don't know if it's happy, but we do have an ending in sight. In case y'all are living under a rock, the Deshaun Watson verdict on the suspension came through today. At least the suggested suspension amount, right? So let's call it what it is. The judge came back and said that it should be 6 games. Um, as we've said several times on this podcast throughout the past couple of weeks, talking about this, this is a travesty to me. 6 games is not enough. I had somewhere in my head the realm of about 12, at least double what he's getting now. I think that would have been a fair amount for what he's going through. I didn't see a season as much as I would have liked that season, especially with the way the Browns handled the whole situation with Baker Mayfield and himself. I would have liked that seen a season just to spite them, but we don't get that. I was expecting 12, and we got 6. So I think I don't agree with it. So
Look, this is the personal conduct policy was modified a couple years ago after the Ray Rice suspension, right? Which that was on video. He basically knocked his wife out in the elevator.
Yeah.
And they suspended him for 2 games, but then they suspended him indefinitely. The Ravens fired him. It was just a mess. This is back in 2014, I believe. So they adjusted that. They adjusted that to where it's like a 6-game suspension for personal violence or domestic violence or that kind of stuff. And I don't agree with that amount of time. I think it's
for Ray Rice for Deshaun.
No, Ray Rice deserved it. I think
okay.
To say, and Big Ben got 6 games for his alleged sexual assault.
Right, but I mean,
but that was one person. That was one person.
6 games talked back down to 4.
Exactly
what it ended up with.
But this is at least 24 lawsuits and 2 sets of criminal charges.
Yeah.
Worth of women. So this is 60-something women overall, but it's bare minimum 24 with the lawsuits, which he settled all but 1 apparently. So that is what it is.
Yeah, like I said though, I mean, I'm glad this has an end in sight finally. So we can stop talking about it and just get to playing football. What I would like to see the NFL do is come up with some kind of consistency in the punishments. I don't think the punishment always fits the crime. You suspend a guy for a trace amount of a substance in a PED because he took one that was on the approved list a year ago that was removed because it turned out to have some kind of chemical mixture that reacted the same way that something on the unapproved list is on. I mean, performance enhancing drugs are wrong. I don't think they need to be part of the game. I mean, the guy's hit hard enough as it is, but they definitely need to look into that policy of that, right? So you suspend the guy for 6 games for, a supplement that he took. I'm sorry, I lost track of my word there. A supplement that he took that his trainer said was okay because it's not on the ban list, but it still turns out to have that same.
And it's like the limit is 0.10, and it was like 0.1. You're talking about DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Sure. I mean,
Hopkins.
I mean, there's several other players.
He said he didn't even know he took it, and it was 0.134, and the limit is 0.1 in the league.
Yeah.
So look, I understand the performance enhancing drugs because that does affect on the field play. That's the integrity of the game. situation right there. Okay, I'm losing the towel. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you were trying for, but hey, whatever works.
I mean, I just came back from a massage. But I mean, like we're talking, and and then you're looking at Russell Gage, who got a year for betting $1,500 when he
Not
wasn't
Russell
playing.
Gage. Not Russell Gage. Calvin Ridley.
Russell Gage? I mean Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry. Calvin Ridley gets a year suspension while he was home on mental health break, right? Gambling $1,500 when he wasn't even playing in the games. Okay,
and he did bet on his own team.
He bet on his own team to win. So I don't. This is stupid. If you're not playing in the game, you should be able to bet. That's a separate discussion. But
I'm kind of on the fence on that right there because it kind of goes back to the Pete Rose thing. I don't, this way I don't know how Calvin Ridley was going to affect the game. He wasn't even in the facility. He wasn't really in contact with any of the players, but and it's not like he could change anything of the outcome for that game. But I do understand that stance on it. I think an entire season for Calvin Ridley's situation might be a bit much. But there's no consistency, right? So a guy pops for smoking weed and he's out for a season. Darren Waller was out for a year for whatever illegal substance he was on. Josh Gordon lost 25, 26 games, maybe more than that. I think 5 seasons worth of full games at this point, just because he can't put the weed down. And in most states, it's something that's legal. And, I don't feel like, I think maybe the NFL needs to address this situation, especially with marijuana, right? I mean, if it's being legal in almost half the states in the country right now, what's the point of us even still looking at that? It's not a performance enhancing drug. It's not going to make him run better. It's not going to make him catch the ball better. It might make him forget the playbook, but I mean, that's on him.
It's just like, as far as weed goes, it's a lot. I mean, it's hard abuse and alcohol. It just, yes, there's some negative effects to it, and all this, but it's legal in Colorado. It's legal in Washington. It's legal in it's decriminalized pretty much everywhere in California.
Yeah, quite
New York doesn't give a shit.
I mean, Arizona's one. I mean, CBD
New Orleans has all but decriminalized it.
Yeah, I mean, CBD usage across the country is available. I know that doesn't get you stoned or anything like that, but there are certain, Delta 8 and things like that people use that can, mimic the effects of it with just a CBD, and it keeps that cannabinoid level down, so you're not really, popping on THC or anything like that. But I mean, there's no sense in that being part of the game anymore. The NBA threw it out. They're not dealing with it anymore, and I think the NFL should probably follow suit on that. I mean, it doesn't do Josh Gordon any good at this point in time. Martavius Bryant, right? Is that his name? Yeah, he's out for the same thing on an indefinite suspension for it. It's just
Darren Waller with substance abuse.
It's just a complete. There's no consistency, and that's my biggest problem, right? So you have Deshaun Watson, who probably could be the face of the league at this point. At least he has the talent-wise to do that.
And I mean, look, Darren Waller was suspended in 2017, I believe, for the whole season.
Yeah, and he's come back and had a hell of a career since then. So
yeah, let's see, what was it? It was, he got opioids from his injury, opioid addiction. But I mean, look, let's take a look at this. This is a pretty good little article from Arizona Sports. Just some of the hot takes on the whole thing. And I mean, look, we're in the Me Too era. And we need to be taking these allegations a little more seriously now. The problem is Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson, highest paid quarterback ever, first max contract, first guaranteed contract in the NFL. They cannot have this guy sitting out a whole season as he's kind of the poster boy-ish this year.
This one right here, listen to what we were talking about, right? Calvin Ridley, 17 games. Vontae Burfict, 12 games for targeting. DeAndre Hopkins, 6 games for PED. Martavis Bryant, indefinite suspension. Josh Gordon, 25 or more games for weed. Darren Waller, 16 games for substance abuse. Deshaun Watson for 6 games for 25, you know, sexual violence accusations. It just doesn't. It's not a consistent set along the line, and I think with the new CBA coming up in the next season or so, that's something that needs to be addressed by the players' union, and it needs to be done the right way.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be addressed as long as Damari Smith is there. That was his negotiation, right? He sucks at this, which is the whole reason why Goodell wanted to keep him. But that's a rabbit hole anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
like I get it, PEDs and gambling, that affects on the field, okay. But I mean, if you just go back to Ray Rice or Ben Roethlisberger, they took it very seriously, and there were no charges for Big Ben either, but he
No, I
still
mean,
got the suspension.
Ezekiel Elliott had the same situation, right? Accused, no charges filed. I think everything was dropped in a matter of a week or two.
Yep.
And it was even said that, hey, this was just to get back at him. He didn't do anything wrong. And bam, he's suspended for 6 games. And Deshaun Watson, 30 odd plus, 24 plus, however many it is now. I lost track. I think some outlets are even saying up to 60 different accusations.
He interviewed over 60 women
games
to do these things. So
yeah.
he basically just like did and then I mean, look, the NFL can still repeal it. They can still fight it.
The NFL can change it. Are they going to? That's the question. I almost don't see a situation where that would be beneficial to the NFL at this point. It's probably they should just move on from this situation, let it go. I mean, yes, it might piss off a couple fans, but as long as they're not losing sponsorships and money, the NFL really doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the article right there. It's some great takes in there. Warren Sharp here has a really good one. I mean, look, the guy gets to keep his $45 million signing bonus, right? His salary for this year was only $1 million, so missing 6 games is losing like $300,000. So his fine is $300,000 and 6 games for probably the largest amount of accusations ever.
Yeah, Thane, equal and opportunity employer for over 60 women. I mean, he does what he can do.
That's what you want, sweet ending? I mean, look, Robert Kraft, right? Robert Kraft did the same thing. Like the massage parlors,
But an owner is kind of a different situation, right? I mean, what can you do to an owner at this point, right? And I mean, it's kind of the same. It's almost the same situation, but not really, because Robert Kraft actually went into massage parlors that specialize in these things, and he just happened to get caught on tape. He didn't interview 60 different massage parlors to find out if they would do the thing he liked them to do.
Right. I just, it's just.
I'm not saying that what Robert Kraft did is not wrong. It's just, I think, from a player standpoint to an owner situation and doing what he did, I mean, going on. I don't think it affects the Alvin Kamara situation at all, Thane. Thane asked, how does this affect AK's suspension, if at all? We know the inconsistency as well, but AK does play for the Saints. Yes, that's why I think he's going to get 6 games. Originally, I was thinking 4. I thought that would have been sufficient for what's going on. Apparently, there's some video that we haven't seen yet that came out about this from the hotel that sheds a different light on the situation. But I think he's going to end up with 6 games. I'm hoping for. He did just get pushed back, I think, 60 days today. So, that puts him going to court right around week 1 or 2, with the suspension starting probably in week 5 or 6 after everything's said and done.
When we need him the most. I mean, that's the beginning. Like week 5 on is that brutal middle schedule.
Yeah, and that's how they stick it to the Saints right there. They wait until we have the worst part of our schedule to suspend the guy. When week 1 through 5 or week 1 through 6 would have been better. Get AK back for the meat of that, of our schedule. But no, that's not how it's going to work out this year. So this season. So we really need our running back room to step up. Mark Ingram, you're gonna have to boom without Zoom for a little while, and y'all gonna have to step up and hold the game down, get us. But I mean, look, I work not far from some Saints camp. I go to lunch across the street from it. I talked to quite a few different people that are in and out of camp at that point in time. Fans just like you and I, and a lot of saying that we're looking really good. Jameis still has a little issue with his feet, kind of scared to take off and run or do the dance because of that knee, and that's something that he's going to get over after time. But I mean, he's looking really good. He's making a deep ball when it needs to be, and he's connecting on passes that need to be connected on. Defense is looking good. So I mean, everything that I'm hearing out of camp,
he's getting picked off, but it's by our best cornerbacks, which is awesome.
Everything I'm hearing about camp, it's looking good. It's sounding good. I would rather him get rid of all 30 interceptions during training camp. That way, he has nothing to give for the season. So I mean, it's what it is, right? But
yeah, I mean, it's just I can't. We can go on for this all night. But I mean, the end of the day, this looks really bad for the league. But we were having a discussion earlier. Does the league have to give a shit? Are they going to lose anything?
They really don't. The only thing they stand to lose is a couple fans watching the games on Sunday. It's not going to affect attendance at the games.
No, they lose more people over the kneeling than this. That's sad, but it is what it
is. It's not going to affect fans. The only way that this makes a difference is if it starts hitting the Browns in the pocket, right? So the Browns will need to lose sponsorships. The Browns will need to lose naming rights to their stadium, things like that. And it would have to hit the Browns in the pocket before it will make a difference in the NFL. They're basically untouchable. I mean, even if Amazon comes and says we're pulling our streaming deal, some other company's going to step up, right? Yeah. I mean, you'll see it on Netflix or something else. I mean, there's no getting away from it. It's going to be there. So, like I said, NFL is basically untouchable.
People are going to say, "Oh, well, you're going to hear this too." That legislatures or Congress needs to get involved or some shit. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it just needs to be done.
This had a criminal investigation. Whether that investigation literally didn't have enough evidence, because you went to a grand jury. Look, a grand jury can indict anybody on anything.
Yeah, these sexual assault charges are really he said, she said, because it was done behind a locked door in a locked room with no cameras, no nothing. So I mean, she can say what she wants all day, and he can say, well, that didn't happen. And whoever's the better liar at this point, I guess, whoever can tell the better story. And I guess it was Deshaun over the women. So I mean, it just is what it is. I think like I said, I think the NFL is stepping on toes by not having a consistent punishment. Not having a gradual punishment for something like this or a consistent line, and I think that's a big issue. And unfortunately, that none of that can be changed until the bargaining agreement. And like you said, you don't think any of that's even going to change then because DeMar Smith is useless.
They suck. The players have terrible representation in this bargaining agreement thing. We watched this 2 years ago when it happened. They waited till the last minute to make a deal, and it came out terribly for the players. So I mean, you've got the NFLPA leadership sucks, and I contend to this day, the whole reason for the Gruden thing was to keep DeMaurice Smith, because that's to get rid of Gruden, because Gruden and Goodell are really good friends, and DeMaurice Smith is somebody Goodell can roll at the negotiation table in favor of the owners, who pay his salary. So that's I
don't know about any of that because I'm not into that the political side of it. I mean, I'm there to enjoy football and talk to you guys about it. But like we said, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to happen.
This takes away from it, though. Like, that's what sucks.
It puts a stank on it. And, like, I'm a Saints fan through and through. But, I do cheer for the Browns. It's that underdog story. I really wanted them to do it. And for me, they really screwed the pooch this year. The way that they handled this Deshaun Watson thing, the whole Baker Mayfield situation. I'm just not. I'm not invested in that team anymore at this point. So I mean, it's if they're on TV, I'm going to flip the channel and go watch something different. This is how I'm going to treat it now. So that's all I got. I mean, like I said, we can just keep going in circles about it. We did 20 minutes on it already, which is what we were looking at. So I mean, it's the wrong amount of time. It needs to be more. The NFL still has 2 days to change it, but anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree, Russell. It's
Yeah.
They made a terrible investment, and we're about to find out. I mean,
look. The thing about Deshaun, and we can go on and on about it. Somebody was going to make the terrible investment, right? And I think the way that the Saints were handling it was a little bit better. They were upfront about it. They were talking to Jameis over the phone constantly about the situation. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. If this doesn't pan out, we want to do this. The Falcons even went and they went ahead and they traded away. I agree, Russell. Thank God we didn't. But I mean, they were going about it the right way. The Falcons too, right? Even after everything soured and the deal didn't happen, they still went ahead and they traded Matt Ryan because that's what he was asking for. The Panthers were looking at it. They had nobody to piss off, so it didn't matter.
Right.
But I mean, it's.
But they end up with Baker Mayfield.
It's how you handle the situation, and the Browns just shit the bed from the beginning. Browns on the bed from the beginning the beginning of that whole situation.
Yeah, the Browns totally Amber Hearded it.
Yeah, there you go.
I will ask you this. So, do the Browns, after Deshaun Watson gets back, okay, who gets more wins, the Browns or the Panthers?
After Deshaun Watson gets back, after or total in the season? Because honestly, what I want to have happen is
let's do whole season. Whole season.
I want the Browns.
I'm gonna go with after. I'm gonna go with after.
If it's 6 games, I want the Browns to finish 5-12, right? And I want those 5 wins to come off of Jacoby Brissett after they lose Week 1 to the Panthers. I want Jacoby Brissett to go,
let me look at
5-1. I want them to go 5-1. I want the Browns to come in after that and just Deshaun Watson just completely just crap out because he's only paying for $1 million this year.
Yes.
That's very possible, and I can agree with that. Well, nobody's seeing 500 anymore because nobody can finish that way. So it's either going to be 8-9 or 9-8, and I would like the Browns to finish on that lower end. I'd love a first round pick that they don't have anymore because that would go straight to the Texans at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So. I mean,
I'm looking at the Panthers' schedule. They're not going to do better than the Browns just because of that schedule. But I think that at the end of the day, they're going to finish with a similar schedule.
They'll come close. Both probably in the bottom half of the league.
I mean, Deshaun Watson is going to have. Yeah, Deshaun Watson's going to have to play Hercules ball when he gets back.
Dude, you know how much rust he's going to have? Right, because he voluntarily sat out an entire 17-game season.
Now, see that to me should get him penalized anyway. He should have been penalized.
He voluntarily sat out that whole season, and now here you are. You're going to miss the first 6 games of this season. Yeah, you can go to practice, you can do whatever, but once the season starts, you're out. You can't go to the facility for another 6 weeks. 6 games. It might be 7 weeks because I don't know when the Browns' bye is. So. Going into that situation, you're going to have Deshaun Watson coming in, and Browns fans are all, oh, yeah, we got this, Super Bowl or bust, Deshaun Watson, we got this, and blah, blah, blah. But looks like a tequila sunrise.
Iced coffee.
Okay, not tequila sunrise. My bad.
Not yet.
That would have been way more interesting.
Soon.
But I mean, I just want the Browns to have the shittiest season they can possibly have. And like I said, I would love for Jacoby Brissett to go 5-1, and then they just lose the rest of the season. Even Josh Rosen. Let's play Josh Rosen. Let's have Josh Rosen do better. We're still waiting, right? I mean, they finally had something with Baker, and they threw that away. But it is what it is, guys. Um, that's my feelings on it. I want the Browns to be crappy because they deserve it, and I want the Panthers to be just a little bit better because they deserve it more than the Browns. But I don't want them to be better than the Saints. So that's just it.
All right, I got nothing else, Captain. If you go with that.
Yeah, me neither. I'm good. If we come up with something else this week, once everything's finalized, and maybe if it's a big change, we'll jump back on. Any big injuries out of training camp? I hadn't heard anything. Few ACLs have been torn, so far, but nothing major from really good. The Bucks did lose their center with a torn ACL, so that's a weakness on our offensive line for our defensive line to capitalize on again. So there you go. Things are looking up.
One more thing before we do go, I do think we should give a little quick shout out to Bill Russell. He passed away this past week, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Sunday, yesterday.
Yeah.
So when someone talks about the GOAT of basketball, I mean, they always bring up Jordan and LeBron, but I mean, really, it should be Bill Russell. I mean, he played like 14 seasons with 11 championships. So I mean, come on, man. And it wasn't like he was just a bench guy. He got out and he did his thing, and there you go, Russ. Yep, exactly. He was good at what he did.
I think that's the most out of any professional player, period.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when someone talks go to basketball, and look, I'm not on everything in basketball. If you're trying to learn more about basketball, I know a good little podcast, Championship Ringside. They do basketball, NBA, and they also do WWE and wrestling stuff too. So, if you're looking to get into those, check those guys out. They're really good. But yeah, they know basketball more than I do. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about GOATs, he's definitely should be in the talk, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it.
Oh no, I mean he played in the toughest era too, like considering when he played, in the 50s and the 60s. Like that's not.
Yeah, I mean that was the ABA NBA merger era time. So I mean, he did his thing. So, rest in peace.
Yeah.
We lost a good one. So, all right, guys, that's all we got tonight. So, deuces.
Peace. I am off to my massage.
Have fun.